break to put a profile on Plenty of Fish? You're good? You're good? All right, so in the same vein of online dating, we're now going to hear from Kathi Jones and her experiences. So put your hands together for Kathi.
Yes, love is in the air. Yes, I too love the smell of napalm in the morning. That divorce bomb dropped on me about 4 years ago. And at that time, I moved in with a young woman who was recently divorced. She kind of got me online, showed me the ropes, told me some red flags, and told me about some interesting characters that she had been involved in, and set me loose. So, after meeting a few of the guys online, I realized there were several that were exactly like their profile picture. Two-dimensional and lacking focus. But then I saw a guy, I really liked his picture. He had his bicycle outfit on, he's on a bike, and I love that. I hit the like button. Almost immediately got a response. Thought, that's kind of a red flag there. And he said, Kathi, what in particular that you saw my profile made you hit that like button? And I thought, gosh, that phraseology sounded so familiar. I said, well, I really loved your bike outfit. I love the optic yellow trim, and I'm a bicycler. I love it. And he said, wasn't there anything more specific that you liked? And I thought, oh, this is just like remembering something. I said, Rumi, come over here, look at this guy. She goes, oh, that's the foot fetish guy. So I said, oh, I can have some fun with this, yeah. I'm gonna have a ball. So I responded, well, I did notice that you had all your teeth. And he said, no. What else did you notice? And I said, well, I noticed that you have been corresponding with me in a grammatically correct situation. I like that. He goes, no, look at my profile picture. So I click it up. He's got like 30 pictures in the grid. And I thought, this is kind of like prove you're not a robot kind of a deal. So, after clicking all the ones that had feet in it, I saw, oh, it looks like he's got a bunch of outdoorsy ones. I said, oh, you got a bunch of outdoorsy pictures. This one looks like it's from Arches National Park. Have you been there? And he said, no, but that's a pretty good idea. I said, oh, and what about that one on the farm? It's got all those little piggies in it. And he said, no, look at the picture of me in the hammock. It was obviously a picture he took. It had his legs and his feet in the hammock with the greenery beyond. And I said, what a nice landscape. He goes, not the landscape. I said, are you into macrame? Did you tie the knots and make that hammock yourself? He said, no, it's my feet. Don't my feet turn you on? And I, like a heel, said, I'm giving you a 5. And he goes, they are at least an 8. I said, well, maybe if you took out a pumice stone. And he goes, yes. And I said, and then lotioned them, they wouldn't be so dry. He's like, yes. I said, maybe that would be a 7. And he goes, send me a picture of your feet. And I said, well, I did just have a pedicure. He said, send it now. And I said, well, I I'm not that kind of girl. I can't have naked foot pictures all over the internet. I have a reputation to uphold. And besides that, I've got bunions. So he goes, please. And I told him he was a lost soul. And I callously hit the block button. At that time I could get into the foot fetish thing. But then I realized that my favorite candy was Mentos. So I moved on, and I met a very nice guy, and I had the scariest date. So I thought this would be good for Halloween, tell you about my scariest date. He was in Sarasota, so we corresponded online, we talked. He came to St. Augustine to visit. We did all the touristy things and ended up at the old jail where he stole my heart. He invited me to Sarasota the next weekend. So I packed my bags, headed to Sarasota, met him at the restaurant. The evening started out wonderful. It was a restaurant on the water, really good food. Had a few drinks, went back to his apartment. So he opens the door to his apartment and I walk in and I'm thinking, this is a really minimalist decor he's got going on here. Real kind of man cave-ish thing. So he goes, I'd like to show you my tape collection. I said, music, okay, maybe we're gonna dance. I said, ooh, I wonder if it's cassette tapes or 8-tracks, what it is. So we go down the hall, the first room, he opens the door, and it was tape. He had Scotch tape, he had electrical tape, he had duct tape. I'm like, oh my gosh, and he goes, I'm gonna let you peruse my collection and I'm gonna go freshen up. So he had little metal placards engraved with what was on display. He had one of the first rolls of duct tape that was processed and invented in World War II. Then he had framed a swatch of the tape that was the precursor to duct tape from 1899. And I was like, well, what's this over in the corner? And I picked it up. It's a picture of him from the prom. He and his girl had duct tape outfits on. Yeah. Well, I realized at this point that he was taking an awful long time. And I was getting bored here. And then I heard his voice behind me and he said, Kathy, can you help me? I can't stop the bleeding. And I turned around and his shirt was gone and he had blood smeared across his chest. And I immediately thought, he's definitely not my type. And then I thought, oh my gosh, if his first victim was the appetizer before we went to dinner, then I'm the dessert. Yeah, soon to be a deconstructed tart. And I thought, my mother warned me. She said, Kathy, she always said, never date a bloody man with a duct tape collection. But actually, the first thing out of my mouth was, apply pressure. And I said that as I hip-checked him, ran out of the room towards the bathroom, saying, I'll get you a washcloth. And so I get to the bathroom. There is blood on the floor. His bloody shirt is in the sink. And pushed back in the counter corner was a used roll of duct tape. Man, I don't know where that body was, but I was like, I needed to get a weapon. I thought, be positive. Be positive. The only thing on the counter was a toothbrush. So I grabbed the toothbrush. It's going to have to do. I figured I could jab him. I could poke his eyes with him. And I'd still have minty fresh breath. So then I thought, okay, I'll head to the kitchen, maybe get a better weapon, and I can look for like a back way out on my way down the hallway. So I get to the kitchen. He was there. He was guarding the knife rack behind him so I couldn't get to it. And then I realized, no, he was wavering from loss of blood. He was getting weak. And I thought, oh my gosh. And so then I thought, what my dad always told me. He said, if you can't fix it with duct tape, it can't be fixed. So I said, I'm going for the duct tape. And he weakly went, not the World War II roll. So I grabbed the one out of the bathroom, brought it back. So I ripped off a square, put it on his chin. What was happening was he had a broken blood vessel in his chin. Every time his heart pumped, it dripped onto his chest. So that didn't work. So I got a little bit of more duct tape and I put it on his chin and I'm pressing it as hard as I could. And it's not, I got a big piece. I wrapped it around. It's still working. So I got the whole roll. And I wrapped it around his head a couple of times this way, and a few more times this way. He was still bleeding. And then I remembered the applied pressure. So I grabbed a kitchen towel, put it on the arm of his sofa, and had him lay on his stomach with his chin on the arm of the sofa. So his full body weight was pressing on his chin. And I sat down beside him. The next thing I knew, I was waking up. You know, I'd fallen asleep next to him on the couch. It looked like the bleeding had stopped. So I quietly gathered up all my stuff and headed out the door. And I was thinking, when he pulls off that duct tape, he's not going to need to shave for a month. And I was so glad to be out of that sticky situation. So after those couple of experiences, I said, I am going to go on one of those dating sites that is more specific for the person you want to meet. So I wanted to meet an electrician. So I downloaded the Watts app. So the first guy I met, he just wanted to pick me up in his Tesla, take me to the nearest charging station, and make out. Revolting. The next guy, he was a load of fun, but he conducted himself poorly in public. That didn't work. But then I met a guy with real potential. I think he was Irish. He was wiry with a shock of red hair. His name was Henry. So we were getting along great. I wanted to invite him over and cook him dinner. But I had to finish my DIY project in the kitchen. I had been refinishing the kitchen cabinets. I had one left to do. And it was the one with the wall oven in it. So I pulled the oven out just enough to refinish the cabinet behind it and shove it back in the wall. And I invited Henry over for dinner. He arrived with a bouquet of flowers. The evening had a capacity for romance. So we sliced, we diced. He went into the other room to get some wine while I stirred the gravy with a metal spoon in my cast iron skillet. So he comes back in the room and he suavely places his hand on the handle of the oven door and he leans over to kiss the back of my neck. Oh my, I felt that kiss right down to my toes. I looked at Henry. He looked at me. He said, "You complete me." Then he threw his arms around me, gave me another big kiss. And I said, "Henry, something has switched. That did not generate the same response." Henry said, "Stir the grape." So I stirred the grape. He put his hand on the oven door. He gave me another kiss. Sparks flew. My heart fluttered. Oh. Henry traced that to the loose ground wire that must have fallen off when I pulled the oven out. That's right. Well, currently, we're not dating. He got tired of making out in the kitchen, and I decided not to get my feet wet in a romance with an electrician. So love is in the air. That's why I now want to meet an HVAC guy. Thank you so much.